Let's now join to this analysis to continue to tell us more. We have our correspondent Yunus Soner coming from Turkey, that he can provide new perspective and more context on everything that is happening right now in this latest wave of strikes launched by Iran against Israel in response to the Israeli aggressions against the Persian nations. Yunus, can you hear me? Welcome. What can you tell us?
Yes. Hello, good evening from Istanbul, from Turkey. Yes, Iran has succeeded to have a second very successful uh, attack of ballistic missiles against the Zionist entities until now, as far as we can judge from here by public sources. Different targets were hit. The main city, Tel Aviv, was among them. The main airport of Israel, Ben Gurion, was among them. Also, the airport of Nevatim, which is an air base. The arms factory of Rafah has also been hit, and the city and harbor of Haifa in the northern part of Israel has also been hit. This is a very important target because Haifa is the main industrial port of Israel. That is the place where all the energy that Israel consumes comes into the country. All the oil it gets is mainly refined in the port of Haifa, and therefore damages here would cause great problems for the energy infrastructure of the Zionist entity, and that also goes along with the oil field, as you mentioned in your introduction, which is on the coastline or in the sea before the coast of Israel, which has also been targeted by Iran. And here it's worth reminding that one important gas plant that is on the sea there has already been shut down by Israel in expectation of such attacks. This is a very important step, as that step, the closure of that energy plant, that gas plant, has already caused gas prices in Europe to go up approximately by 5%. So until now, we have from Israeli media the news that 8 people lost their lives, but the count is still continuing as there is a lot of damage inside Israel. And this once again shows that the so-called Iron Dome is not functioning that well as was expected by the Zionist authorities. And here, an interesting fact to put into the equation is that the U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth had to acknowledge in an interview he has given to the Fox News channel, TV channel in the United States, that the US had to transfer anti-drone air defense systems from the Ukrainian front to the Middle East in defense of the Zionist entity. So this is another indication that Israel and its main ally in the United States are struggling hard to maintain some kind of defense, and they are not capable to maintain it at two different fronts at the same time. That is, at the Ukrainian front and in the Middle East simultaneously. This is an important point. We have just been on a demonstration here in support of Gaza, and it's worth reminding that not only Iran is pressuring Israel, there is also pressure on the Iraqi-Syrian border. There is continuing demonstrations inside Iraq that demand the expulsion of U.S. troops from the country. Some sources already say that, I cannot confirm that Iraq has placed some air defense systems on its border with Iran in favor of Iran to repel Israeli aircraft, but this is not yet fully confirmed. Simultaneously, in the Gaza Strip, the resistance is also continuing with the Al-Qassam brigades announcing yesterday that they ambushed Israeli troop contingent, killing one Israeli soldier and wounding several of them. So also on the southern front, there is a lot of pressure on Israel. And tomorrow will be an important day in the Iranian front, because the Iranian parliament will discuss a proposal of 2 points. first to retreat from the International Atom Energy Organization, the organization that had claimed that Iran is not fulfilling its obligations, thus opening the way for or providing some kind of legitimacy for the Israeli aggression. And the second point is the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. This is the strait where all the oil tankers that leave the Persian Gulf get to the Indian Ocean. So all the maritime exportation of Iraq, of Kuwait, of Saudi Arabia, partly, and also partly of the United Arab Emirates, passes through this strait. Approximately 1/5 of all global oil trade goes that way, and it's a very small strait, so it's very easy to control. Actually, Iran's navy had been training this exercise, had been making this exercise already in military exercises, partly jointly together with Russia and China. So this proposal will be decided upon tomorrow in the Iranian parliament. It is not a moral question because Iran considers that it's defending its fatherland, it's defending its sovereignty, so it's an existential war. So there is no moral question about it. It's just the question whether the Iranian government and the Iranian parliament will take that step tactically now or keep it as a triumph for later.
As we are seeing now reports also that the Israeli occupation forces are targeting different areas in the occupied territories in areas of Deir al-Bala in the Gaza Strip, in the central Gaza Strip, and also in southern Lebanon, as they are also targeting these areas right now amid this great escalation of the hostilities between Israel and Iran. What could possibly Israel be looking for to escalate even further this regional conflict? What is their possible aim?
This is hard to evaluate, but my guess would be to say that after the first shock that was caused by Israel's attack on Iran, Iran's response against Israel and its success by overcoming the defense of both the Iron Dome and the US assistance, and later on also the British airplanes assisted Israel in defense. But Iran did succeed to cause damage inside Israel. And this, I think, has given an upheaval to the Palestinian resistance, both in the Gaza Strip and also inside Lebanon. We need to remember that Lebanon is still partly occupied in the southern part by Israel, as the Gaza Strip is entirely to be considered occupied right now. So these forces here that had been in a retreat now might have gained some moral strength and might get back into the offensive. And that goes in line with what I just mentioned before, that the Al-Qassam brigades have started also new attacks on the occupational Israeli forces. And Israel here is on a defense, but it might find itself in what it fears most, which is a multi-front attack on its occupation from all sides, from the Gaza Strip, from Lebanon, and of course from Iran as well. And there is a changing atmosphere in the Middle East generally. The resistance and the counteroffensive that Iran has displayed has definitely given moral strength to all the forces that are against US presence in the Middle East and that are against Israel's occupation policies. So these forces are taken to the streets. They did so here today in Istanbul. I just have been on a demonstration where people were demanding a peace force to crush the Israeli blockade against the Gaza Strip. There are manifestations, demonstrations in Iraq, in other populations, in other countries as well. So it's a psychological warfare. And today, right now, Iran and all the forces that expel the US forces from the region and that question the existence of the Zionist entity are gaining the upper hand right now.
So in a way, we can say that this Israeli aggression in a way is making people more united against the Zionist entities and the U.S. presence in the region. So in a way, can we say that these actions might backfire against Israeli and U.S. interests, creating a more united front against them?
Definitely. I can provide you an example from here from Turkey. For instance, both countries, Iran and Turkey, are Muslim countries. But in Iran, you have the Shiite sect dominating, while in Turkey, it's the Sunni sect dominating. And traditionally, historically, there have been a lot of conflicts between the Sunni and the Shia. And in some ways, they were also part of the conflict in Syria. But today, we see that, for instance, in the demonstration that I have been, these were 95% Sunni people, and still they were waving Iranian flags, something which is not very common usually among, let's say, ideologically Sunni people. But this is exactly what's happening. Iran's resistance against Israel's attacks is pulling those Sunnis, those Muslims who really reject the Israeli occupation on its side, and it's constructing new unities and new action lines and new lines of solidarity. This is something that is to be observed in the next days, but there is indications for that definitely.
Another question, Yunus. You were talking about the response of the regional actors, their condemnations to the Israeli attacks. What can we expect of the so-called international community, organizations like the UN? You were saying tomorrow is very important for the International Atomic Energy Agency's meeting. What can we expect from them in regards to these kind of actions? We have seen that they have been very unsuccessful in the case of trying to stop the genocide committed in Palestine. Can we expect something different now that the situation is escalating very quickly?
I can tell you what I observe, what the Middle East, respectively West Asia, as we prefer to call the region, expects from the so-called international community, and that is not much. The International Organization for Atomic Energy, as well as the United Nations, have failed completely in the Gaza conflict. So all the actors here, uh, be it the governments, be it the populations, be it political parties, they do not expect anything anymore from the international community. And basically, when here you speak about the international community, this is the United States. They don't even speak about international organizations anymore. And that is why Iran is seriously considering to pulling out of the Organization of Atomic Energy, because they think that this organization has simply become a tool in the hand of Israel, making baseless claims, providing kind of very weak justification for Israeli attacks, while everyone in the Middle East knows that Israel is the country that has the atom bomb, and that even whose politicians have publicly threatened to use it. Remember that ultra right wing members of the Netanyahu government have publicly proposed to throw an atomic bomb on the Gaza Strip and to eliminate all human and non-human life in that region. So the expectation of international community or international organizations is very low here right now, and it's more the facts on the ground, the fight, the struggle of forces here in West Asia that defines, in the perception, the future of the region and the future of Israel, and also the presence of U.S. forces in our region too.
In your take, how will Iran come out of this? Will it be reinforced? Will it be weakened? What's your opinion of how Iran will come out of these defense actions that it's taking against Israel?
To be honest, there will be, of course, a lot of reconstruction will be necessary. Iran has suffered serious damage, both in terms of leadership in the military, as well as in terms of nuclear research personnel, as well as the infrastructure regarding nuclear power, nuclear energy, and the rest of it. So this is definitely has been a hard blow to Iran. But diplomatically and politically, I think Iran will get out stronger out of it because, as I mentioned before, it sees Iran is not the isolated country here. Politically and diplomatically, the Iranian president spoke to all regional leaders today. He spoke to the president of Russia. He's in contact with China. Pakistan has declared its full support to Iran. So in diplomacy, it's not Iran that is isolated, but it's Israel that is isolated. And Israel's not so open allies, there are some Middle Eastern countries that have normalized relationships with Israel. These countries are getting under pressure right now. So I think Iran will need, I'm not an atomic energy expert, so I guess Iran will need some time to recover from the damage that was caused. But politically and diplomatically, it will get stronger even out of this conflict, and it will result as the force that has openly resisted and counter-attacked. That's the main point. Counter-attacked Israeli aggression successfully, so successfully as other forces, as you have mentioned, like the ones in Lebanon and in the Gaza Strip, have come back to the stage again.
Thank you, Yunus, for the latest details and analysis of what is happening right now in the region. We're going to stay in touch for coming moments to
You're
continue
welcome.
sharing on the information. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.